Okay, today we're going to have a little jazz theory lesson, and we're going to discuss the basic chord qualities that are used in jazz, and this would apply to functional harmony, which is still what's predominantly used in jazz. Sometimes we use modal harmony. But it's when playing standards, it's still more common for jazz pianists to use functional harmony in reharmonizing a tune. So we're going to look at basically the types of chords and how they function. Of course, you have the major chord, but in jazz we usually add a sixth, like that, or the major seventh. They all function as major chords. Usually, very often is the one chord. You have your 2-5-1 patterns, the 2 chord, the 5 going to the 1. So the 1 is usually a major, sometimes a minor, but it's always one or the other. But that's the function, it's a major. And here are some of the variations. It could be a ninth, like that. It could be a ninth without a seventh or a sixth. It could be a 6-9, which could be played many different ways. Could be played like this. Okay, they all function. Could be played like this. All functioning as a major chord. The next chord function would be the 7th chord, the dominant 7th, which usually goes, well, it's in the key of G, usually goes to the 1 chord. In jazz, it can also go down a half step. They call that a tritone substitution. So from G, you can go to the, let's get a little hipper voicing there. So it could go down a half step to the G flat. Okay, so let's start with a C7th. That's your basic and generic C7 chord, like Mozart would use. If we add the 9th, we're getting more into Debussy territory. Right? But it still functions as a 7th chord. So we go from the 9th, we could have a 13th like this. There's the 13th and the 9th. We can have a 13th like this. Okay, still functions as the 7th chord, as the 5-7. Here it resolves to F. Okay, this would resolve to an F6 ninth. So that would be the function of it. Now we also have the minor chord. So here's a C minor. Sometimes in a minor tune, this can be the root chord, the tonic chord. But oftentimes it functions as the 2 chord in a 2-5-1 pattern. Let's do it in the key of C. A 2-5-1 pattern would be D minor 7th, G 7th, C major 7th. Okay, so here's your D minor 7th. If we add the 9th, it functions the same way. We can add the 9th in the middle like this, and it still functions the same way. You can turn it into a half diminished, like that. Okay, that's the half diminished. Voice it like this. Or like this. And that can act as a 2 chord. There it is going to the G, and it can go to a C minor aura, back to the C major. Okay, another variation that I just played there would be the Augmented 7th. So let's go back to the key of C, and instead of playing that seventh, that would be the augmented fifth. Could also be called the flat 13th, but it would still function as a seventh chord and resolve to F major or F minor. Could also have the flat 13th with a flat 9th. That's another variation on the C7 chord, but they all function. The point is, these all function as either major, minor, or dominant chords. The other chord would be the diminished chord, which is kind of a strange animal. This is the diminished seventh. Very Wagnerian. He liked to use the diminished seventh and climb around forever and ever. Very dramatic. The diminished seventh chord is usually used to bridge the gap as a passing chord between two other chords. For example, D minor. Then you'd have an E flat or a D sharp diminished, which would take you to an E minor. Okay? Then around the cycle again. Could also be used very common in the key of C, the 4 chord, going to the F sharp diminished. Okay? And that could take you back to a C with the G in the root. Let's do another one. You can climb up to the A minor. See, that's the diminished, the G sharp diminished. So this is something you hear quite often. Used a lot in gospel tunes, you know. Okay, so that's our first jazz harmony lesson. That's just to get you started on some of the basics. If you like this lesson, please get in touch with me. My email is going to pop up there. It's also on the link below. And I'd love to get any questions from you. Okay, have a great day.